Well, hello there, friends. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing very well and fantastic even. I'm here with another spirituality video. However, I decided that I wanted to make a samurai and put on some lo-fi hip-hop type Japan music. Do you feel inspired? Do you feel like you're in the bamboo grove right now? Can you taste the bamboo? Stop eating the bamboo unless you're a panda, okay? That'll hurt your tummy, and I don't want your tummy to be hurt. Hurty tummies are not fun. And I would rather you guys all have a nice day, you know? Meow, meow, meow. Okay, but we need to give this guy a name. So I just decided to use one of the detailed appearances I had previously. I think I'm just gonna go with Arjuna, because that's the classic, you know, the classic name. Apparently you can kill the beginning monster pretty easily. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, a couple of different things here. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the lessons I've gotten from Thich Nhat Hanh. And I've been reading a lot of Thich Nhat Hanh lately. I've been rereading The Heart of the Buddhist Teachings. I installed the Plum Village app, which, to be honest with you, should have done way before now. I would highly suggest, if you're into meditation and Buddhism or even Hinduism, or, you know, whatever you're into, like, you should probably install the app for that. I think it's well worth it, just because it has some really good meditations on there. I'm a big fan of Thich Nhat Hanh. I think it's, yeah, there we go. I would do that. I'm a really big fan of Thich Nhat Hanh. He's really been very helpful to me especially on my meditation journey. Recently I was going through The Heart of the Buddhist Teachings, and he has several parts where he's talking about, you know, like how we kind of nourish different aspects of ourselves and different, like, seeds within our heart. Like, we can nourish the seed of love and the seed of, like, strength and, like, calm and stuff like that. Or we can nourish, like, you know, bad seeds if we do, like, the wrong kind of actions and, like, approach the world in a not so great way. And I've been thinking about that. It's been very interesting because, you know, I think I have gotten to a point of that wasn't what I meant to do. How do you... That is what I meant to do. You gotta remember how to do the... Oops. Didn't actually... That was the wrong time to do the chargey attack. Probably gonna die here, but that's fine. But anyway... Oh, I think that's... Oh, I'm actually still alive. I'm kind of amazed by that. I am just barely what we would call in the biz technically alive. Oh, he's gonna get me with this one. Yep, he is. Oh well, that's a nice little try. But he was talking about how you can nourish different things, like, by, like, what you consume and what you, like, what kind of, like, habits you encourage and what habits you, like, kind of stick to and things like that. And I was really thinking about it, and I think it's very true. And I was trying to go through and, like, think about stuff like, you know, what do I feed on? What do I use as fuel for myself? You know, both, like, when we're talking about, like, actual nutrition, but when we're talking about, like, spiritual nutrition, like mental nutrition, like, what am I consuming? What am I, you know, doing with all this different stuff? And, you know, I found that I think YouTube can really be a good example of this. I was just kind of going through, like, what does YouTube recommend for me? And of course, that's not always the best. And some things I'm like, I have no idea why it recommended XYZ thing. That has happened a couple of times where, like, I'm like, why on earth is it suggesting X, like, what's a good one? A good example is recently it started suggesting to me someone's streams, and I have no idea why. I'm not, like, subscribed to them. As far as I can tell, their content is not even remotely related to the content I normally consume or anything like that. And but there's also things where it's like, oh man, you know, sometimes you get wrapped up in the political stuff. Like, you know, like, I like to be politically informed and stuff like that, but one of the problems I've found as I've gone through my life more and more is that there's a lot of... Oh, I'm gonna be poisoned. Can I get through that without being... I don't think so. I think my resistance is low enough that I'm not gonna get through that without being poisoned. Let's see. I have anything in my... I have nothing in my inventory for that. I wouldn't think I would, but you know. Oop. And you know, like, a lot of times, like, you know, the political stuff, it can be very important, but I find a lot of it's very negative. Like, it can be very difficult to actually, for instance, just find, like, good news in terms of political stuff. A lot of times, the news when it comes to politics is just, like, very bad. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff that's having, you know, a very negative effect on our society and all these other things. And, you know, sometimes I think about the way capitalism is kind of ruining a lot of things for us, you know, junk like that. But sometimes just talking about it just, you know, doesn't really do anything. And sometimes, like, yeah, being informed is good, but at the same time, like, I also find, though, that there's a lot of stuff out there that's just, like, I suppose I would consider myself overall more informed now. Okay, it's still going that way. Overall, like, more informed about certain things now, and that's good. But at the same time, like, you know, is it improving my life? Is it improving my spiritual practice or anything like that? Or is it, you know, like, not really doing those things for me? Is it, you know, like, sometimes it's like, is it a help or is it a hindrance? And sometimes I'm finding that a lot of it is just a hindrance. Like, you know, I'm really glad that Cody Johnston does, you know, some more news. He does some really great stuff there. But sometimes, you know, you're just kind of like, man, I just want to have moments where I don't feel like there's like too much negativity. Like, sometimes I start to feel like I'm just dwelling too much in, like, negative stuff. And even if it's true, it's like, well, some of it's like, well, does this help me if I dwell on it, or is it just making things worse for me? I might just get deaded here because of the poison. I don't really... Oh, I didn't even think about him doing damage to me. But things like that. And I was kind of taking a little bit more of a break, and, like, you know, Chris Hedges. I love a lot of Chris Hedges' books, but a lot of them are kind of depressing. But I think that there's also stuff where it's like, sometimes it's really good to know, like, the negative information, even if you don't like it, because it can really, you know, like, you don't want to base what you're doing in the world on, like, lies either. You don't want to be, like, doing... You know, you don't want to, like, base your political beliefs on lies, and you want to face the truth wherever it is. But, you know, we also need to make sure that we're still taking care of ourselves and shit like that, man. Not mean, Jimmy Dean. And sometimes it can be kind of hard to balance the two out, because, you know, it can be real easy to yeah, I think we're good for a second. It could be real easy to, like, let those negative things, like, interrupt our practice and things like that. And, you know, sometimes you just got to figure out, what am I trying to do here? Am I trying to be informed, or am I trying to be more at peace? And sometimes you just got to go with the, you know, I'm trying to be more at peace. I'm trying to, you know, get closer to Mount Kali. And, you know, I also kind of already know that everything that happens, and she ordains it to happen for a reason. And, you know, some people, like, they don't believe that, or they think that's silly to say. And I understand, like, we all got our different beliefs, man, but, like, I can only go with... Oh, well. I can only go with what's made sense to me and what's worked for me on my journey, not, like... You know, like, I'm not trying to tell you what you gotta believe or things like that. I'm just saying that, like, if I'm trying to be more at peace, then I can't just be sitting here going, like, oh, it goes back down. Okay, I think I should just be able to, mostly just trying to make sure I can actually get the talisman before I die again, since I don't have any poison resistant stuff. I just gotta be careful when he drops down, because that might be a problem. Or they're not already dropped down. So Not really too concerned with the runes. Oop. There we go. That's all I needed. Haha, you can't kill me if I kill myself. Never mind, he got me before I can kill myself. But, you know, and so I was kind of thinking about all this different stuff. And we really got to be careful because we want to water the seeds of like love and, you know, good things in our hearts. We don't want to just sit there and constantly water the bad seeds like hatred and greed and delusion and stuff like that. Sometimes it's hard not to be a little bit mad with some of the stuff that happens in the world, but you know, sometimes you just gotta kind of roll with it and not worry about it too much, because it's just like, there's a lot going on out there, but does every single thing have to affect my practice? And better yet, does every single thing affect me individually? It's like, well, sure, in a sense, because we're all interconnected and it's all interbeing, like, cool, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, is this what we really want to dwell on? And sometimes that's why we just need to go into like meditation and like really and we really gotta go into oh dang you. And we don't want to, like, you know, feed the negative things inside. Oh, great. Stop trying to send mosquitoes at me, sir. Thank you. And you got to make sure that you're not like doing things to like fuel like your anger or things like that. Like, you know, I met people who will talk to me about like playing games like League of Legends or something like that, and then like, you know, you listen to them play and they're clearly just getting mad, or like, you know, Rainbow Six Siege is a game that I know a lot of people who play, but like they'll play Siege and just be sitting there just getting upset at like everything that's happening, and they're clearly not having fun. And it becomes a thing of like, well, don't you want to be having fun? Don't you want to relax? Don't you want to like make things better? Like, we got to be careful. There's like this real thing in a lot of us to like just pour fuel on the fire. You know, like things will be going wrong for us, or something will be not going the way we want it to, and rather than, you know, dealing with it and trying to really make sure that we're like making our lives better and not making them worse, sometimes people are just like, no, I'm gonna go pour like as much fuel into this fire as I possibly can. It's like, well, you really shouldn't do that. You shouldn't just sit there and, you know, like fuel yourself with these bad things. It's like, you know, you got to think like, is putting a lot of like lust into yourself, you know, like let's get all 15 arrows are good for this class. You got to make sure that you're not like fueling the wrong sorts of things, right? It's like, just like how sometimes, like, yeah, maybe somebody said made you real mad, but you know, there's a good portion of the time where like really dwelling on that. Oh, I was getting hit. Oh, thank you for having a long charge up. And sometimes you just really gotta like, you know, like sometimes maybe you really like playing Elden Ring and Dark Souls type games, like I do. But you know, I've found that there are times when I just need to like take a break because like maybe I'm getting beaten by a certain boss a bunch and it's making me more upset than it should, and I gotta think about like what's better for me. You know, you should look and see like what nutrients you're ingesting, because if you're just ingesting hatred because you're just, oh, I thought it would spawn me back at the, did I not? I don't think I did actually touch the thingy. Oh well, that's fine. But like sometimes you gotta sit there and think about like what you're actually doing and like why you're doing it and who's benefiting from what you're doing and stuff like that. Try to curb your content consumption to just be more, or just be less triggering. You know, like, man, you got like this one life to live. Well, not really, you got like a lot of lives to live, but you know, you got a limited amount of time in this life. You got this time to, like, you know, sit and dwell in the present moment. Not really any reason to pick this up because those ruins. To like live and dwell in the present moment. So why don't we try to dwell in the present moment? And why don't we make sure that that moment is a wonderful moment rather than, like, you know, some like terrible thing where we're just like constantly suffering and not sure what the heck we're doing. Or, like, you know, sometimes we strive for things. It's like, why are you striving for that? And, you know, like, there's a lot of people I met, you know, myself included, at points in my life where it's just like, why are you pursuing what you're pursuing right now? And if it turns out you're pursuing something because A, you know, like, somebody else wants it for you, or like you don't really feel like passionate about it and stuff like that, sometimes it's good to reevaluate and just you know, really try to figure out what is worth going after and what is not worth going after. And, you know, like, especially if you were putting like a lot of effort into something, like I had a lot of miniatures and stuff like that, and I kept talking about how I was gonna paint them and all this stuff, but then, you know, like, months would go by and I think I painted 2 total, and it's like, oh man, it's just better if I just like don't burden myself, even like with like little things like this. And I need to make sure that I'm like actually enjoying myself and really trying to have like a time that feels like it's beneficial to me and a time that benefits me spiritually. Like, this is like one of the main things here is, like, you know, if you get too much negativity, it can make it a lot harder to meditate. Now, that's not to say that you can't meditate and that, you know, like, meditation isn't like a way to deal with the negativity, because it certainly is. And I've certainly found that in a lot of cases where I'm doing things and I'm not sure what I should do next or something like that, you know, I'll just go through and I'll start meditating really kind of heavily on like things that are disturbing me and trying to figure out like, what? Man, this thing does good damage. I didn't realize. So sometimes you just gotta start really making sure that you're... Is this song like a lot louder than the last one, or am I crazy? I might just be crazy. And, you know, make sure that you're doing like the right things for your spiritual practice. Not a mean Jimmy Dean. And I just thought that, you know, I've been really kind of thinking about that lately, and I really would invite you all to, like, you know, some people, it's for like New Year's resolutions stuff. Don't make it just about New Year's resolution. Make it about you're trying to live a better life. You're trying to get more spiritually attuned. You're trying to be happier and just have like less, you know, weight on your mind, man. So just sometimes you just really got to sit there and go like, what have I been ingesting? You know, sometimes that's food. Sometimes it's like, oh man, I've been eating like crap and that makes me feel like crap. But other times, you know, when you're talking about ingestion, talk about like the content you're viewing, like what thoughts are you like going after? Like, oh man, is it really, really hard for you to, like, if you have a negative thought about somebody, to let it go? Like sometimes, and you know, sometimes it's not like you don't want to beat yourself up just because you had a negative thought, but sometimes what you want to do is be like, okay, well, I had this negative thought. Okay, there's a negative thought. I recognize it, and then move on. You know, stuff like that. You don't always want to be just like dwelling on those negative thoughts and things like that. Is like the main thing I'm trying to go for here. Not a mean Jimmy Dean. And I just was really kind of dwelling on that lately, and I think that's something really good to dwell on. I think that you should all download the Plum Village app and just do like a couple of short meditations daily and just see if it doesn't change your vibe. And don't try to, and just, you know, don't try to like change everything at once, but sometimes, you know, just like, hey man, a little bit of Kaizen, a little bit of improvement at a time, and you'll really get somewhere. And I just think that's worth doing. Okie dokie. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope that y'all get some good rest out there, and I hope you guys feel like you're having a good time. I love you, and God loves you, and remember to water the seeds of love in your heart, okay? Bye-bye, love you, bye.